Okay guys, welcome to another video. Now if you're a regular of the channel, you'll probably know that I'm pretty much a C64 guy. You know, that was my original computer. That was what got me into this hobby that I'm still into some 45 years later. Yeah, when I had the C64, loved it, absolutely loved it. Um, all my mates had C64s, and then there was one mate that I got friendly with at school, and he had a Spectrum. Now, other than seeing the Spectrum in the shops, I'd never played one. I'd never really seen one in the flesh. I didn't know much about it. And when I eventually went to his house and he showed me it, I was, I quite literally thought it was just like a toy. It was a toy compared to my Commodore 64. My C64 had sound. It had sharp graphics. The Spectrum had this horrible, washed out looking colours, colour clash central, and I just really couldn't. I couldn't accept the Spectrum as like a valid computer. Certainly not compared to my C64. But in the intervening 45 years, I've owned various Spectrums. I've played various emulators. I've got plenty of Spectrums and that now, and I've got to realise that the Spectrum was a very credible computer. Yeah, it didn't have the dedicated hardware that other computers had, but it had programmers that really wanted to get the best out of it. So what I've done here today is I have picked 10 of my favourite Spectrum games. So let's take a look. Starting off, what is possibly the best known Spectrum game, Manic Miner. This was programmed by Matthew Smith and originally released for Bug Byte software. Now, this game was based on Miner 2049er, according to Matthew. So, yeah, let's have a look. What was interesting about this game is it had an animated loading screen. Yeah, maybe to call it animated is pushing it a little, but what it did is through clever use of colours, it gave the impression that it was animated. So here we go. Yeah, you're greeted with this cacophony of noise. I think to call it a tune again is kind of pushing it slightly, but it is quintessentially the Spectrum. The first level, it's tough. There's not an easy screen in this game. This game, like a lot of games, early games, was based 100% on memory. It's all about memory muscle, or muscle memory I should say even, where to jump, when to jump, where to go. This game really was, you had to be pixel perfect. You were one pixel out like that, you lose a life. There's none of this energy nonsense. Straight 3 lives, bang, lose your 3rd life, game over. There was no codes to restart, there was no save states, anything like that at all. You had to just do it in one go. And if you got to level 5 and then died, it was back to level 1 again. But this is one of the few 8-bit games that I still load up just for fun. I think everybody's got their own way of completing the game. I know it's a pattern that I follow. Now this game has been released on various computers as you would expect. I mean, it was a massive seller. Yeah, it was released for all the systems. I think even the Dragon 32, I think the Auric had it as well, the BBC, I'm sure the BBC had a version. Did it ever get released for the Atari? I'm not quite sure, I don't think it did, might be wrong. Yeah, came out in the C64. And that was the one that I played. I used to play the C64 one. But then when I got access to an emulator, I started playing it on the Spectrum. And for me, the Spectrum is where it's at. There's just something about it. I mean, it was written on the Spectrum. The flickery graphics, the limited colours, the sound. I mean, listen to that jumping sound. That sound could only come out of Spectrum. Now, they did release an updated version for the C64 to try and make it more like the Spectrum, and they've done a great job. They've done an absolutely fantastic job with it. But again, there is only one version I'm going to play, and it's always going to be the Spectrum one. I think there was 24 levels, something like that. I can get to maybe a level 6, possibly a level 7. I'm trying to think what level I could get to. Was it Return of the Kong Beast? I think was probably the furthest to ever go. I can usually get to about level 5 or 6. But again, it's one of these games I can play 2 games. In the first game I can lose all my lives in the first screen. It's just so brutal. So anyway, there you go, classic. That's Manic Miner. Right, this next game, Zombie. This is a game that's probably most people probably aren't familiar with it. They'll certainly know the game that preceded it, Atic Atac. But yeah, let's take a look. I love the little statement, the little disclaimer at the start. Due to strong personal convictions, I wish to stress that this game in no way endorses a belief in the cult. I think this game was probably the first video game that I was aware of that featured zombies. Nowadays, you can't move for zombie games. Now, you'll see here, you've got the option to play as a girl or a guy, which was the same as Atic Atac. I never really got into Atic Atac. Now, this was never ported to any other system, but when it came out, me and my mate, there was very few Spectrum games that I liked to play. I would go up to my mate's house and he would sit and play the Spectrum, and I would just watch him. When we came to my house, we would always take turns and we'd play 2-player games, but we never had that with the Spectrum. It was invariably me watching him playing, and this was one of them. And then I really got to like this game. The idea, the pretense behind the game is you've got to try and kill the zombies. Now, the only way you can kill them is by walking up behind them. Once you walk up behind them, they will go into a trance and they'll turn pink. Now, it's got ludicrously bad graphics, terrible colour collision, but you know what? It's a great game. Now, the only way to kill these guys is to find a wall that you can lead them up. So you need to get a wall that's got a kind of a sheer drop. You've got to try and get one. And then what to do is, once you find a wall, you've got to try and carefully get them to follow you up. And then you walk off the end, and if you're lucky, they will fall off and die. Now, what you've got to be very careful of is you don't lose sight of them. If you go too fast, or you go round a wall at the wrong speed, whatever, they'll disappear like that. See, they're now back into wander mode again. So what I've now got to do is try and catch them. Now, if they see you like that, it's curtains. It is brutally hard. Now, one lovely little touch is you can actually get inside the helicopter and you can fly about the landscape to your heart's content. And what you really want to do is try and look at them. Now, you can actually, I can't remember how to do it, you can actually rotate the landscape the same way as you could with Atic Atac to try and see them. Because it's like 3D, they might be behind the wall. Now, one thing you need to be very careful of, like I've just done there, is you don't want to get out your helicopter and then you can't get back to it. Now, fortunately, I was able to get along the wall like so and hopefully get back in it. There we go. Now, what you can do, if you notice all these little yellow dots at the bottom, they're actually building blocks. And by pressing the fire button, you can actually build walls. So you can, it's not just about killing zombies, you can actually build structures, which back in 1984 was we'd never seen anything like this before. But the whole kind of open-ended sandbox killing zombie thing was just fantastic. Yeah, it's interesting that this game never got another port. I don't see any reason why the C64 couldn't have done this game. What you need to be careful of is you don't build a wall, or you don't land on a high wall and then fall out the helicopter, then you can't get back to it. You don't need the helicopter to complete the level at all, but it does help to be able to zoop about in it. Right, I've just cut a wee bit so we can actually hopefully see a zombie getting killed, so we'll walk up behind it. There we go, he's now in a trance. And then what you now want to do is find a wall that you can lead him up to his death. Now that was the little one that I built earlier on, so you just need to be very careful. It's hard to actually get him right behind you. It does take a bit of practice. You've got to be perfectly lined up. Oh, he's not wanting to come. There we go. Keep walking. Boof. He's pan-bred. So that is the premise of the game. You can build walls. You can also remove blocks as well. Think of it as like an early Minecraft with the premise killing zombies. It doesn't get much better than that. I love that game. And again, it's a game I do play just for fun. That's Zombie. Now this next one, Formula 1 by CRL, this has a bit of a story behind it. One weekend during the 80s, probably 1985, something like that, my mate and I decided to swap computers. He had the Spectrum, I had the C64. I personally thought he was getting a better deal, but anyway. So we swapped computers, and he had all these games on tape. He had various C90s with God knows what on it. And I was going through loading up games, and this game appeared. So yeah, and it piqued my interest. So let's take a look. Yeah, I was never really massively into racing games or anything, but I loaded it and I thought, I'll just see what it's about. And yeah, as it starts to unfold, I became ridiculously hooked to the point I actually sat up all night. I pulled an all-nighter playing this game. Think of this as Football Manager, but with F1 cars. You pick your car, you get to pick the colour. You got one of 6 colours. I think I always went for yellow. Always wanted something distinctive. You had a limited budget. You had to pay for parts, pay for repairs, and more importantly, you had to pay for a racing driver. Very, very simplistic, but there was just something about it that I thought was fantastic. It was really, really addictive. So let's just go through here. So you need to pick a sponsor. This kind of dates it Lauda, Prost, De Angelis, Alboreto, Nelson, Piquet, Renier, New. These are Keke Rosberg, Ayrton Senna, Nigel Mansell. Yeah, these are all guys from the 80s. I never really watched F1, but I'm familiar with these guys. Now you've got a limited budget, and you've got to try and you've got to pick who you want to drive. Now it has been some 40 odd years since I played this, so I'm just trying to figure out. Right, you can see there my overall efficiency is 13%, which is rubbish. So what I want to do here is buy a new engine. Right, overall efficiency. You can't actually race unless you get over 50% efficiency. You can improve what you've got, or you can buy new. Now, I don't know what I was doing wrong, but I always found buying new, you reaped kind of better results. So, yeah, there you go, I'm 61%. Now, the thing is, I've almost spent my entire budget on one race. Now, I have got obviously a decent driver, I aren't saying there. Right, there you are, 85%, so that's pretty good. Now it does tell you it's going to be dry but rain forecast. If you're a little less thermal printer, you could even print the screen out. So yeah, you need to think about it, dry but rain forecast, so I might go for slicks. You can do pit stops, but I'm thinking, or do I go for rain tyres? Go for intermediate, there we are, right. I'm in, you can see that I'm in, was it 1, 2, 3, is it 4th place? And this is where the fun begins. There I am, number 11. I'm up to 2nd. I always thought that the animation for this was quite impressive at the speed. The speed at which these little guys fly past, I thought was great. Now, the speed on the screen actually determined where you were in the race. So if you're flying, you can guarantee you're going to move up the rankings. If you're going slow, you're going to drop down. I'm well down. Oh god, I'm about 8th or something. Oh, purple's out, I think. Yeah, gearbox problems. No, I'm in last place, but it looks like I'm going a bit quicker. And that is effectively it, folks. You're probably wondering what the fuss is about, but I was absolutely hooked in this game, and I think it's a great game, and I do still play it. So let's take a look at the next one. Right, this next choice may come as a bit of a surprise. I loved the C64 Commando, in no small part down to the Rob Hubbard music. And I used to see my mate playing the Spectrum one, and I thought, yeah. But you know, after getting to play the Spectrum one, I realised that it has to go in this list. Let's take a look. Now, right away, it's a Spectrum. It's going to look, you know, virtually devoid of colour, and this is no exception. The colours are gaudy. I mean, the men are blue. The green is way too bright. But when you actually play it, when you actually play the game, it's fast. It feels more like the arcade. It really does. It's just got a great look. I mean, the graphics, whilst the colour isn't what you would hope for, the detail in the rocks, detail in all the backgrounds is just great. And yeah, it just plays so well. It looks like the arcade one. All right, you know, you're playing against a blank yellow background, but I think it's got all the levels that the C64 one didn't have. But I think the pace of the game as well, just, I don't know, it just feels really, really, really nice. The animation, the main sprite and the enemy sprites are all absolutely top notch. Is this a better version of Commando than the C64? It's difficult to say. It's difficult to say because, I mean, yeah, the C64, and for all its glitchiness, does look quite nice. It's obviously got the actually killer Rob Hubbard track, which I mentioned earlier on. And, you know, a great version. The only problem is it's only got 3 of the levels. And I do still play the C6. Obviously, it's been rectified now because this clever cracking group came up and they've enhanced the original and they've added the extra levels, etc., etc. So that is probably the best version, the home port of Commando. But there's just something about the Spectrum one that I just like so much. It just plays so well. It looks nice, yeah. Apart from the colours being all over the place, it just looks the part. I don't actually know why they didn't just stick to black and white or yellow and black. But yeah, I think this is an absolute fantastic game, and it is one of my favourite Spectrum games. There we go. It's Commando. Right, this next one, another arcade port, Green Beret. This was programmed by Joffa Smith. Now, before I got the opportunity to play MAME, I had this on the C64 and it was brutally hard. And then again, when I got the chance to play it on the Spectrum, my mate used to play it all the time on the Spectrum, and I wasn't really impressed. But once you actually play this game, you realise what a fantastic version this is. So let's take a look. This is Green Beret. Now right away you're thrown into mayhem with the cacophony of that noise. Now I remember seeing this back in the day. My mate used to play it, and I don't know, I always just thought that the Commodore 64 one was better. It looked better, it had proper graphics, proper sprites, proper colour. This one was all monochrome. But then, through the passing years, getting to play this is actually really, really, really playable. The graphics are great. Once you kind of see beyond the colour, the animation, the graphics, and like I say, more importantly, the playability is just second to none. It's much more playable than the C64 one, in my opinion. I mean, it was programmed by the late Joffa Smith. He was a complete legend in the Spectrum. He knew how to make the best games. I mean, he did stuff like Hyper Sports, was it Cobra, I think, as well. And yeah, he was a master of the Spectrum code. He could do the graphics. He was able to do sound. He did everything. He was a complete, expert at every single facet of game programming. And yeah, this is such a good version. Outside the arcade, if I'm going to play Green Beret, this is one I'm always going to play. So yeah, there you go, Green Beret by Joffa Smith. Let's batter on. Right, this next one is probably no surprise to a lot of people. This is one of the earliest Spectrum games. I mean, it came out for the 16K oblique 48K Spectrum. So yeah, that makes this all the more incredible that it's actually running in 16K. It's an early game, and if you were to ask most people for their top 10 Spectrum games, I would pretty much guarantee that the majority would feature this game. It's such a brilliant game. So let's take a look. Now, if you know your arcade heritage, you'll probably guess that this does lend quite a lot to Defender. A similar kind of movement, fire. It's obviously a homage to Defender. It obviously adds in its own little extras. You've got to build. You've firstly got to build a space rocket. Then you've got to fuel it. What makes this such a great game is the simplicity and the speed of which it plays. I mean, the Stamper brothers who owned Ultimate Play the game, they did come from an arcade background, and you can see what they were trying to do here. They were trying to create an arcade game, and this could quite easily have been in an arcade machine. So it's no surprise that I'm going to like this. It's just so damned playable and fun. It really, really is. It did come out. I don't think it ever got an official release for the C64. I know there is a version of it in existence. I don't think I've played it. But again, there's something about this version, of the original version. It just works. It's got the gaudy colours, the quintessential Spectrum sound effects. It's fast, it's fluid, it's fun. The little intro things, building your rocket and that as well, that just kind of helps to add to the fun of this thing. But yeah, again, this is a game that I will play from time to time. It's a perfect arcade game in my opinion. Yeah, that's the mighty Jetpac. Now, talking of early games, here's an early one. Yeah, Micro Mega Death Chase by MJ Escort. Again, I think this might actually run on a 16K Spectrum. This is such an early game, and yeah, it featured in the Your Sinclair Top 100 games, and it came in #1 position. So let's have a wee look and find out why it did. Yeah, there you go, 1983. That's 42 years ago by my reckoning. That's insane. That's almost half a century ago this came out. And it's still an absolute stonking game. What makes this game incredible, apart from it being fun to play, is I think technically it's actually a brilliant game. It's got the ability to create a 3D environment. You've got these trees rushing towards you, and the speed and fluidity of which they move towards you is mental, just incredible, and that's what makes this game such fun to play. I'm not quite sure what it's actually firing from. Apparently it is firing rockets from the front of a motorbike, but yeah, I'm not quite so sure. But yeah, it's a simple game. You've got to try and take out these enemy riders. It does go dark. And like I says, what makes this incredible is when you think of how old this game is. It's one of the first games to come out in Spectrum, and technically I think it's an absolute masterpiece, and it's still phenomenal fun to play even now. It really, really is. If you've never played this game, go and check it out. You're missing one of the best video games ever. Yeah, there we go. Phenomenal. Right, this next one. Again, there's a bit of a pattern forming here. It's another early game. Atic Atac came out in 1983 by Ultimate Play the game. What attracted me to this game initially was the cover. Look at that! What a fantastic bit of cover art. You know, back in 1983, there were some real shit cover screen cover tape things, and this one was just different quality. I bought this for my mate for his Christmas. I can't remember what he bought me. It wasn't as good as Atic Atac, trust me in that one. But yeah, let's take a look and see why this features in my list. Now, right away, I mean, look at it. It just looks so good. Colour, the artwork, it's done in such a comical, really fun way. Look at the health is a chicken that gradually gets eaten. The graphics are just fantastic. I said they're done in a really cartoon way, well defined. I don't know what Ultimate Play the game knew about colour clash and how to prevent it. Not 100%, but when you consider all the colours that are on screen here, the colour clash is it's not bad. It really is. And when you think of other games, that it's a lot worse. But it's fast. It's an arcade type game. Yeah, I just like it's got horror, it's got Dracula, it's got Frankenstein in it, it's got the werewolf, it's got a witch. It's just bloody fun to play, and it's got that again. It's got that quintessential Spectrum sound effects. This I think did come out for the BBC. Never got a release on the C64 until fairly recently. I'm not quite sure why, because yeah, we all know that the C64 couldn't really do 3D, so you're never going to get stuff like Night Lore until much later on when people decided or figured out how to get it done. But yeah, this was always the Spectrum's domain, and like I says, I bought this for my mate, and I can't quite put my finger on what makes me love this game so much. It just looks so good. The graphics are absolutely delightful. It's a simple game, and like I says, look at the chicken thing. It's beautifully presented, really good fun to play, and yeah, it's got to be one of my favourite video games, certainly in the Spectrum. That is yeah, the wonderful Atic Atac. Right, the next one, Cybernoid by Hewson. This was programmed by Raphael Secco and Nick Jones. I did have the pleasure of getting Raphael on my Nice and Nasty, so we'll go and check it out. Yeah, why is this game on my list? It's a shoot 'em up, and it plays wonderful. Let's take a look. Now, this game did appear on a multitude of systems, including the Commodore 64, Amstrad. It also came out, I think it came out on the Amiga. It definitely came out on Atari ST. And I can hear you asking, well, why would you pick the Spectrum one? The other ones are much better. You know what? There's not a poor version of this game. They're all utterly fantastic. But I think when you consider what is actually happening here, this was the original. It first came out on the Spectrum. Look at what it's actually doing. Beautiful colours, the speed, again the way it plays, the fluidity. Yeah, it's an absolute masterclass in video game writing. It's a great shoot 'em up. It's as hard as bloody nails, and I don't think we'd ever really seen a game that looked this good. Even now, it's still got to be one of the best looking Spectrum games. This is wonderful, and as you can see there, it's also as hard as bollocks. There's so much stuff moving about the screen. There's no slowdown, and I don't know. There's something about the brightness of the Spectrum palette. The Spectrum doesn't have many colours. It doesn't have many colours at all. But it's just the colours are really bright, and they stick out, and it just makes a game like this that's all about shooting stuff with explosions and bombs and what have you, and pyrotechnics. It's wonderful. And again, if I was going to play Cybernoid, it would always be the Spectrum one. Yeah, this is always a tough little bit. Let's see if I can get past this. Keep your nerve, and go. Keep your nerve. Yeah, utterly sublime game. Again, they're all great, but the Spectrum one takes it for me. Right, the very, very last game, Automania by Microgen. Now, it was a toss-up between this or Pyjamarama. Microgen put out games that had fantastic graphics, big, big graphics. They always had a lot of creativity, originality, the colours, yeah, just they were wonderful. And Pyjamarama, it was one of these games. It was always in the shop window running a demo, and there was just something about it that I thought looked beautiful. I got it on the C64 and I played it, and I almost completed it. I didn't quite complete it. And then I discovered Automania that had come out earlier on, and again similar kind of graphics, not quite as nice, but there's something really addictive about this game. So let's have a wee look. The idea of the game is to build a car. You pick up various pieces which are blue. You've got to kind of time it right there, we go. And then you've got to take it to the next screen whilst avoiding all the baddies. I've always enjoyed games where you're building things. Interestingly, you're building a car, jetpack, you're building a rocket. I don't know, it gives us an added kind of incentive. You get an actual physical kind of thing to look at. So you drop it in, and then you go back for your next bit. It's all very, very simple. And again, it did come out on the C64. I'm not sure if it came out in Amstrad. But again, it first came out in the Spectrum, and I don't know what it is. These games just suit the style of graphic that the Spectrum does, if that makes any sense. It may look better in other systems, you don't have the colour clash, but again, it's just a game that, for me, if you're going to play it, play the Spectrum one. Yeah, the music's not the best, but you know what? Very, very oddly, it doesn't actually bother me. I'm not going to say it adds to the atmosphere at all. I think you can actually turn it off. I'm sure there's an option to turn it off. There is a wee bit slow down in this one, but that doesn't really matter. So there you go, folks. This is not my top 10 Spectrum games. I mean, it'd be ridiculous to say that this is one of the most technically brilliant games. It may not be regarded as a brilliant game by some people. This collection was just 10 games that I love in the Spectrum. These are every game that you've seen here tonight, or today, whenever you're watching this video. Every single game I do play for fun. I don't play many 8-bit games now because I think a lot of them, by far and large, most of them, after a couple of minutes you don't want to play them. But all these games in this video I do actually play. So I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you think. I don't expect anybody to agree with all my choices, but the most important thing is, folks, you've enjoyed watching the video. Till next time, as always, thank you very much for watching.